Today's episode of Desertwood Days with Kathy Blaze is sponsored by Dork Publishing, expanding minds through fantasy since 2018. Learn more at the Dork Publishing website, www.dorcpublishing.com.
I wanna visit all the places nobody goes. I wanna teach all the things that nobody knows. I wanna grow wings, leave the coop, learn to fly. Bungee jump from the tallest building in Dubai. I wanna fly around town in my UFO. I wanna eat real food, not the GMOs. I wanna make moves, call the shots like the boss. I wanna love like I never lost.
Welcome back to Desertwood Days. I hope you're enjoying this show today because I certainly am. Our next guest, she's our Navajo community leader, and let's welcome Debbie Nez Manuel. Hello, Debbie.
Hi, how are you?
Great, such a pleasure.
Good to meet you. Good to meet you.
Thank you. Thank you. One of our guests from season 1, she highly recommended you. She just spoke the world of you. So welcome to Desertwood Days. Such a pleasure. We are so excited and happy to hear about all the things that you're doing in our community, because this is a community show. We're an entertainment show, but we're a community show. So we like to hear about what our talent and individuals are doing out in the community. So Debbie, one thing I'd like to do first is just give our audience a little gist of who you are as a person. Can you tell us a little bit about Debbie? Are you a native of Arizona?
I sure am. I am a tribal citizen of the Navajo Nation, and I live in the Salt River Pima Maricopa Indian community. And what's most important for the people who help raise me and from the communities is to introduce myself. So I've just gotten through acknowledging all of the people that helped to raise me and made me the person that I am today.
I love that. I love that. We should all do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, we didn't get here by ourselves.
Yes, exactly.
Right. You know what? I try to do that often. I mean, I share pictures and things of my my grandparents and great grandparents and people that I really that inspired me to be the person that I am today. So I love that you did that.
Yeah.
So Miss Debbie, you're a community leader. What was it that got you to that young Debbie? What was it that Debbie wanted to do growing up?
So they call me a community leader. You know, I don't really call myself that. Those are things you earn within the tribal community settings. And it's a part of our value system is that we can't talk too much about ourselves. It's the people who acknowledge who we are. And so a lot of times that's really important to help close the gap between cultures. I think probably the biggest thing that got me here today is at the young and tender age of 3, I lost my mother to a death. You know, she was one of the women who came up missing, and she was found murdered. And so that was something that really created a ripple effect in my life and made me the woman that I am today. Really pushes me for to focus on issues of social justice in our communities, recognizing that there are many children who are vulnerable in our community.
Right.
And whatever the case might be, I'm always watching out for our young people.
Right.
And that just led and paved the way for what I'm doing today.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Because, you know, we need people like you that's out there causing these ripple effects to have people look into these things that are happening.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, you know, someone goes missing for years and no one's even you don't even hear a peep of it.
Exactly.
Or we don't even know what's going on. I mean, did they just forget about them? Exactly. So I love what you're doing in that aspect.
We often talk about it when we work closely with our elected leaders, especially legislators, is that many of these issues go missing, and not only in data in our institutions or our places where advocacy happens, but we go missing in media. You know,
right.
So many places where the conversations are not happening when they really should be.
Right.
I think that's really important.
It is very important. It is very important because that affects who we are.
Yeah. Yeah.
It really does affect. I mean, as entertainers, you know, we go through so much in our lives, and you know, even being able to perform, those things are something that's impeding what we do in our work, what we do in our community, because, you know, if no one's out there trying to figure out what's going on, then I'm thinking about it all the time.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening with other individuals. If they don't feel like they're being heard, their voice isn't being heard. I mean, it's there all the time.
Yeah. In a state like Arizona where we have 22 tribes, it's critical. We have a number of tribes. We all relate to one another as sister tribes, and when there is something awry and we are not looking at that issue, that falls back on our shoulders. It's our responsibility to make sure that everyone in the state is taken care of.
Right.
And so that's
You
been
know
my
what?
focus.
And that is awesome that you guys support each other.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
22 tribes, and you guys all come together and support each other.
We all come together. Right now, I serve as an appointed member with the Arizona House Committee with MMIP, which is Missing and Murdered Indigenous People. And in working with my colleagues there, we all represent different tribes in Arizona. So tomorrow at 11 o'clock, we're having a public hearing at the Salt River Pima American Indian Community. And this is after we've traveled around the state to hear directly from constituents, to hear directly from people who have gone missing, to address these major system gaps that happen, and making sure we understand them as House Committee people so that we can increase the kind of appropriations, advocacy all around the state to help families.
Right.
So, yeah.
You also you work with housing also,
Mhm.
correct?
Well, I work and do a lot of things outside of being in advocacy. I have to make a living, so I can't do everything for free. So I do consulting. I work with a lot of different areas. So I work with Morning Star Leaders, which is a youth Native youth organization that
Okay.
focuses on youth leadership development. I serve on a national platform with the Democratic Party as a party leader, and that's something that's very unique that most people don't know about. I want to say in 2020, it was like 112 years before an Indigenous person was elected to sit at this level, which is really important because it pertains directly to tribes as well.
Right.
Outside of that, I just got through serving as a campaign manager, electing our one of our first youngest Native American professionals, Dr. Boo Nygren, and he's the first female VP elect for the Navajo Nation
Wonderful.
ever.
Wonderful.
And
You
so-
also mentioned to me that your daughter had mentioned something to you
Yes,
about
yes.
her peers, and can you explain a little bit about
Sure.
that?
So we have these government, tribal nations that we live in, and a lot of programming that comes from the federal funds is real specific and targeted to tribal enrolled members. And me belonging to the Navajo Nation, I don't live in my tribal nation. I live in another tribal nation. So
Okay.
my daughters and her friends were all sitting back waiting for programming. And one day she's like, Mom, we need to do something. We need to change this up. Every Native kid should have access. Every Native person should, be able to do something. Mom, fix it, and what she
She
recognized.
said, "Mom, fix it."
Yes. And at a very young age, she recognized there were system barriers.
They do
and
recognize.
They do.
I mean, we think that our youth, they're there on front of their little thingies. They're
Yeah.
not paying
Mhm.
attention, but they're paying attention.
They are paying attention.
They are paying attention, totally.
Yeah, it was so cute last night. My daughter was telling me, Mom, she says, I put you on our agenda for our social justice issues, and we're going to talk about the environment. Can you come and speak? I said, well, which hat do you want me to wear? Mom hat or which hat? And she's like, I want you to wear your social justice hat and talk about the environment. And I said, okay, I'll do that. And then she comes back again. She says, Mom, I told my social justice club you are coming. Everybody's excited. I'm like, oh, that's cool.
That is cool.
We do leave impression on young people.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. So you, besides from being a part of it, you also mentioned that you are doing something in our community with housing.
Yeah.
And is that specifically with the indigenous population?
There are a lot of housing opportunities that are available for the general public, but when it comes to housing opportunities for Native Americans, it's very different. And the one barrier to that is the fact that most tribes live on trust land. So there's a lot of process in making sure that land is available for people to use, but within the boundaries of a tribal nation, there's a lot of challenges. But with departments like agriculture and these lenders, there's partnerships that are growing, and so we just keep trying to open doors and make things possible. There's a lot of help that's needed for people just with basic housing.
That is awesome.
Mhm.
That is awesome. Especially we're going through a time where it's hard right now. I
Mhm.
mean, it's hard for everyone right
Yeah.
now. Food, housing, everything, it's really hard right now. You're doing a lot of work. You're doing it. So I want to say thank you for all that you're
Thank you.
doing. And you know what? There those are things that it affects all of us in our community. It may be, you may see it happening in your community,
Mhm.
but it actually affects all of us when
Yeah.
things are happening like that.
Mhm.
So we're thankful that you're out there working hard, doing the things that you're doing.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So there's been a lot of changes here in our community. I mean, we just got a new governor.
Mhm.
Yes. And how do you feel that that's going to bring change about some of the things with some of the things you're doing?
One of the things that's really important is that, having a new governor builds relationships with tribes. I think that when we think about water, access to water is really
Hmm.
critical. We think about the infrastructure that's needed with broadband. So make sure that not only Maricopa County, which is the fourth largest county in the United States, but the rest of our counties can get access to broadband. That's huge for students who are in the classrooms, who are
Right.
working remotely.
Right.
So having a governor creates a lot of opportunities ahead, and I think that bridge is really sorely needed for our tribes.
Right.
Hmm.
And you know what? Speaking with our previous guest, speaking about entertainment and bringing the children out to the games and stuff,
Hmm.
being able to have access to those tools so that they can watch the games and
Yes.
be able to even be involved in some way.
Yes.
So those tools are very important for all of our youth.
Hmm.
Yeah, I've always said, you know what? There's no reason in the world where we have so much money that one group should have more than this group over here. There's no reason that that should be happening at
That's so
all.
true. There shouldn't be haves and have-nots.
Right,
Hmm.
right. But there's all. Hopefully, we'll see that change one day. Hopefully,
Yeah.
so if there was a change that you would like to see, let's say positively in the let's say in the Navajo community, what would that be for you right now?
I think communication between one another, reducing the fear that it takes to include or be so inclusive. I think that is so important. Too often, I have a rule in my own life is that if I'm in a meeting and there are not other women there, or if there's someone there that doesn't have disabilities, or
Hmm.
somebody's who, there's just rules in my life where principles, I guess, those meetings shouldn't be happening. If there are
Hmm.
not Native Americans at the table, the meeting shouldn't be happening.
Hmm.
If there are people of color who are not there, the meeting shouldn't be happening. Let's get them all to the table, ensuring that all these different perspectives are included. Meetings do take longer, but
Right.
that's a really good principle to live by, and it prevents a lot of delays from happening. So communication between all of our people are so important.
That is very
Hmm.
true. So I like to ask this question, Debbie, because it is Thanksgiving.
Hmm.
And again, like I said, there's just so much going on in our world right now. A lot of stuff, but there's still a lot of good
Hmm.
stuff. There's a lot to be thankful for. So I like to ask you, what is it that you're thankful for this Thanksgiving?
My health, my health. We just got out of a pandemic, and there's a lot of losses in a lot of people's lives, including mine. And I think one of the most critical things is I'm glad I'm walking. I'm glad
Mm,
I'm able to get up and get out of bed and do the things that are really
yes.
important, and be there for my children.
Yes,
Hmm.
and that's very important.
Yeah.
Because I always say, if I get sick, who's going to take care of my child and who's going to take care of my mother?
Yeah.
Because she's at
Hmm.
that age where I have to take care of her now.
Yeah.
So you're right, health is so important, so important. So is there anything coming up that you'd like to share with us? Any new projects or anything else that's coming up in the community that you'd like to share with our audience?
Some of the things that I've worked on, I mean, I just got off of a campaign. I'm deep compressing, but I look ahead and I think about what is out there that we really need to focus on. Voter rights is really important
Mm-hmm.
because we just ended our election year,
Right.
but the new 2024 just started the day after.
Mm.
And when I think about communication among people, we need to make sure that our larger bodies of organizers are connecting and training our people, our Native American communities, making sure that our young people have voices, that are important about making sure that nobody's vote is disenfranchised, making sure that our children are included in the process, our seniors are registering to vote.
Right.
I just got through meeting.
Kids are really wanting to be a part of that now.
Yes.
They really are.
Yes. I just met President Obama. That is like my dream. He gave me a hug. I'm really happy. And but there's these symbols that are in our lives that are really important. And I felt like when I heard him speak and when I heard other people speak, it really moves me. I'm like, I'm going in the right direction. This is good.
Wonderful.
So,
isn't that a great feeling when you know that you're going the right way?
Yep.
There's just this sign or someone said something and makes you know that you're going the right way. So speaking about the youth and wanting to make sure that they're able to have a voice and be able to do these things, what are some of the things that you guys are putting in place, say, in your community to make sure that they understand and they have a voice?
Yeah. One of the things that our nonprofit Morningstar Leaders has done is make sure we provide training around the state, making sure that people understand that, when you fill out your ballot, you go to the back to the bottom and you work your way up. That's really critical because a lot of young people don't understand all of the different layers of how important our voice is through the vote and the ballot. And so teaching young people the importance of a ballot,
it's sad to say
it can be intimidating.
Well,
it's
sad to
time.
say that there's a lot of adults that don't know and understand that.
Exactly. It's intimidating your first time, and there's a lot of legal language when it comes to, propositions, and you're like, oh man.
Right.
So there's a lot of learning that can happen.
Yes. So Debbie, you've been talking about all this deep stuff. What is it that Debbie does for fun? What do you like to do to let your hair down?
That is fun. That is fun. But some of the hobbies I have, I love, if I need to decompress, do something for myself. I love horseback riding.
Okay.
I love horseback riding. So I enjoy learning about horses. It takes me from all of the political stuff. It takes me away from responsibilities at home, and I'm just me with that horse.
Do you have horses?
I don't.
No.
They're a lot of work. I know better than that. They cost a lot to feed, to care for, but they're really precious, and I think it grounds me. So I enjoy time with horses when I can get it.
What is it like for our brothers and sisters that are living on the reservation? Especially when we're going through something like what we've been going through.
Yeah. It's, what I witnessed this past year it's about survival. If you live on the nation, there's only a few employers. You have the government, you have the hospital, you have the school systems, and if you're lucky, on the Navajo Nation, you have one of the 11 grocery stores you could work for. Maybe a gas station, but a lot of those people who are in those positions, they keep their jobs.
Right.
So the only alternative is to create a small business. So. And if nobody
work
has
outside.
Mm-hmm. Oh. So, survival is huge, and I am so honored by knowing where I come from, knowing my lineage is coming from all of these people who, oh man, they work hard.
What advice would you give to someone that's listening to what you're saying today, that wants to step in your shoes and be a help to their community?
Follow me and I'll show you.
Oh.
I do so much organizing around the state. I talk a lot. I ask a lot of questions. I ask a lot of hard questions, and often I always hear people say, God, you inspire me, Debbie. And I'm like, well, don't just get inspired. Help me.
Right, right. And don't get inspired and just walk off.
Yes, don't stand there and give me a pat on the back. Help me. Roll up your sleeves and join me and whatever I put my foot forward and working on it.
Right.
It's all good.
So where can our audience find you, Debbie?
You can find me. I do a lot of different. I have a website, debbienezmanuel.com. I also have on social media. I have a couple of different pages there that I work on, and just message me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. It was such a pleasure to have you, and happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And happy Thanksgiving to you too. And we'll catch you next time on Desertwood Days.
Today's episode of Desertwood Days with Kathy Blaze was sponsored by Dork Publishing. Visit them at dorkpublishing.com.